Tonight on News Center Now, after 2 animal attacks, one including a rabid fox, animal control officers are reminding people to stay safe when they're out walking with their kids or pets.
Plus, ahead of the busy summer season, a look at the state of Maine's real estate market.
Plus, how one man is turning his love for art into a way to honor the life of his little brother.
Plus, how do you get a cat off the top of a power pole? Well, it involves a lot of waiting. This is News Center Now.
A lot of police departments in southern Maine are getting more and more calls about animals with rabies. Just a couple of days ago, a fox bit a dog and a person in Bowdenham, and police say that fox did test positive for rabies today. Good evening, everybody. I'm Lee Nelson.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. Chris Costa is live in Brunswick tonight. Chris, the Maine CDC reporting double digits of positive rabies cases already this year.
Yeah, Lee and Lindsay, that's right. The Maine CDC says they've already reported at least 26 positive rabies test results. Now, on a trail like this, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to run into a wild animal, but still, animal control officers say this is the time of year when rabies reports spike, and they think this year could be worse than last.
His name's Milo.
Everyone's out walking their dogs on a sunny day. Carol Levesque and her dog Milo are taking a different trail in Brunswick after an animal attacked a family on Saturday on her usual trail in Lisbon.
I certainly don't want to be attacked by something, or my dog to be attacked by something. So I haven't gone back since then.
Brunswick Animal Control Officer Heather Brown says this recent spike in animal attacks is due to animals becoming more active in the warm weather.
They're foraging more, they're starting to mate, coming out of hibernation.
She's encouraging people to make sure their pets' rabies vaccinations are up to date.
Good boy.
That's the biggest step you can take to be proactive.
Animal control officers say if you're out walking on a particularly wooded trail, basically the opposite of this, you might want to consider bringing some type of big stick, just in case you have to defend yourself, your pets, or your kids.
If it's charging you, you can run or fight, and definitely having something bulky like a walking stick is a good option.
Had him since he was a pup.
Carol has her concealed carry permit, and she says she's considered bringing her gun, but police don't recommend it.
You know, I wouldn't want to hurt anything, any animal, but if it was protecting myself and my dog, I would certainly, if not shoot the animal, at least, fire in the air so it would run away.
Because Milo is family, and she wants to keep him safe.
And everyone, I'm sure, wants to do the same thing.
Now, one of the most obvious tips that animal control officers say is that when you're out walking on a trail, know your surroundings. Don't just bury your head in a cell phone. Now, Officer Brown also told me that because the winter, especially in southern Maine, was so mild, it's possible that there are more animals that survived that winter that could now potentially be targets for other rabid animals and allow it to spread more quickly. Obviously, if you suspect that there might be a rabid animal in your area, you should contact your local police or game warden. Lee and Lindsay, back to you.
All right, Chris, thanks. Cindy was out walking this morning, and a fox walked right in front of her and kind of looked at her and then walked away. But you don't usually see foxes at 9 a.m. or something like that.
And that close is a little scary.
Yeah, it was a little odd.
Huh. Very interesting. Good day for a walk, right?
Speaking of a little odd.
I like that transition.
You remember that time you reported me to the game wardens? They're like, no, he's just real weird. He's not rabid.
He just foams at the mouth
Yeah,
naturally.
we don't think it's anything unusual. We looked at tape from him a while ago. Same. Nice day today. Nice and sunny pretty much statewide. Some high thin clouds now rolling into western Maine. But we got most of the day in. Nice and clear, and down east and northern Maine will finish the day that way as well. Temperatures in the upper 50s, low 60s, still below average. In fact, a sea breeze has kicked in pretty strongly along the immediate coastline, and you can see that green shaded area. That's that sea breeze, that ocean temperature pushing inland, where it's obviously warmer in Augusta and Waterville and Bangor in the low 60s there. Here's our next storm system. Warm front here, cold front here. It won't get in here till probably mid tomorrow morning, and so tonight should be largely clear, but you'll notice a few showers have broken off of this down into Vermont and New Hampshire. So we're going to be moistening up the atmosphere overnight tonight, and it wouldn't shock me if there was an isolated sprinkle tonight, but I think 95% of us stay dry. Tomorrow morning, here come the showers, turning into a steadier, heavier rain during the afternoon, and perhaps some rumbles of thunder in there by Friday afternoon as well. Guys, this weekend looks like last weekend. We are threading the needle to get ourselves a decent couple of days, but I think we should be able to do it.
Nice.
Sounds positive, Keith. Thanks. The proposed CMP transmission corridor through western Maine might have another hurdle to clear. Today, the Maine Senate passed a bill that would make a net carbon emissions impact study mandatory. Governor Janet Mills signing on to a deal to support the project known as the New England Clean Energy Connect back in February. That bill now moves to the House for a vote.
The U.S. Air Force has tested a missile on the same day that North Korea is suspected of having launched 2 short-range missiles. The Air Force says it launched an intercontinental ballistic missile today from Vandenberg Air Force Base, that's in California. It says the launch was part of regularly scheduled tests. North Korea's launch was its second in 5 days, and a possible warning that nuclear disarmament talks with Washington could be in danger. Those looking to buy or sell a home in Maine this spring have one thing on their minds. Will the market remain hot?
The short answer is yes, according to industry experts, but not in all real estate markets. However, that's enough to ease the minds of some homeowners who are ready for a new chapter.
First, we kind of decide, is it important to us?
Bill and Susan Dowdy are going through 33 years of memories.
And if it's not important to us, we have to ask the family member, is it important to you?
They raised their family in this 1940s colonial home.
We often find things that relate to our kids who are now grown, and then we bring them up to the kitchen table and show it to them, thinking, oh, that was a wonderful memory, with tears in our eyes. They say, I don't remember that. No, you can just toss that. It's not important.
Ready to downsize, the Dowdys put their Portland home on the market 1 week ago.
We were probably a little bit overconfident when we first started.
No offers yet, but they're hopeful.
Buyers are really ramping up for the summer to get it done.
Low inventory, high demand. That's the case for Maine's residential real estate market, which is holding strong, according to the latest report from the Maine Real Estate and Development Association. One factor?
We're starting to see a lot of folks from out of state that really enjoy living in southern Maine.
And further north in Penobscot County, a similar story.
Stability in the economy, the fact that people have jobs, and the fact that they know interest rates are going to remain good, I think are all really contributing to that.
Commercial real estate activity, however, appears to be winding down. The sharpest drop in 3 years happening in the last 6 months, according to industry experts.
We're fortunate because we don't have to sell this house to be able to go to where we're going to.
The Dowdys are buying a condo with enough room for a growing family in mind.
We love the house, so it's a good time, I think, to find somebody who wants to buy it who will love the house and take care of it too.
And a nice neighborhood, by the way, I might add.
All right, there you go.
Best of luck to the Dowdys in their future endeavors.
What, are you looking for a commission here or something?
I know, right? It is funny, though. I mean, they were just so sweet.
Yeah,
and
they seem like they were really
yeah,
nice.
just you want the best for them. They remind me of my parents who were looking for that next chapter, too. Empty nesters. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Facebook is saying it has taken steps to eliminate terrorism-based pages, but is the social media site telling the truth about that? We'll have more details on what could be troubled times ahead for the social media giant.
Yeah, also using art and family to remember a loved one. A Maine-made movie based on the love of 2 brothers. It's about to hit the big screen.
Facebook says it has taken steps to remove pages created by terror groups for propaganda and recruitment.
Now, the question is, has it really? We ask because the Associated Press has obtained a confidential whistleblower complaint from some researchers. It says that they were able to find many terror pages, and quite easily. They said really all they had to do was simply type the name of the terror group into the Facebook search bar. And what's worse, the researchers also complained that Facebook was inadvertently auto-generating videos that celebrate the groups. Those are those little videos you probably receive too when you're celebrating an anniversary of a Facebook friendship or another special event. And more telling still, Facebook co-founder Chris Hughes is actually calling on the government to break up the tech giant. We're going to have more on that in the next half hour. Get ready for a price hike in the produce aisle.
Yes, but not in the whole aisle, just in the tomato section, the tomato bin. The cost of tomato exported from Mexico are expected to increase due to a new 17.5% tariff imposed this week. The move follows the termination of a 22-year agreement between U.S. and Mexican growers that could lead to shortages. Grocers say consumers could see increases of up to 85% on tomatoes between now and next winter. The Commerce Department says it is continuing to negotiate to come up with a solution for this. And if you're wondering how many tomatoes we get from Mexico, they account for more than half the U.S. market.
So a lot. Wow.
Better start growing our own.
I know, right? Which we do. So there you go. Not yet, though.
Sometimes they taste better.
Yeah. Oh, way better. So are you scared of heights? The bobcat in Florida got stuck in a pretty high place today. We'll see why animal lovers were a little bit worried about him or her.
And we're stuck with Keith again and his rainy forecast, question mark?
My socks.
After Michael Norton's little brother JT passed away in 2016, he knew he wanted to do something to honor his life.
Yeah, so he took two of his biggest passions, art and family, and found a way to bring them together. And our Samantha York has the story.
When Michael Norton is feeling inspired, he comes here.
This is his office.
Despite living with muscular dystrophy, the 32-year-old doesn't let his diagnosis get in the way of his passion, art.
I'm creative, so I have a drive to always make stuff.
That creativity and drive is what led him to his most recent project.
Those two were just inseparable.
A documentary honoring the life of his little brother, JT.
I started working on this project about 2.5 years ago.
With the help of family and friends, Michael has spent hours combing through home videos and pictures.
So we've got all these tapes and they're all labeled like this. It was very hard to decide. It was just like, I like this skateboarding trick. I like this shot.
What started as a way to memorialize JT's love of skateboarding soon grew into something much more. It was no longer just a way to honor his brother's life, but a chance to share his story.
Early 20s, specifically. Started doing a lot of very risky behaviors. The unpredictable started to become a little more predictable.
After high school, JT's family says he began struggling with demons of his own. Shortly after, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
We didn't know some of the stuff that was going on in his own mind, you know. It's almost like his brain was attacking who he was.
It was a battle JT fought every single day. Until one day, his family says he just couldn't do it anymore.
He tried really hard to take care of himself for 5 years. He stayed here as long as he could, you know.
His sudden passing turned their lives upside down. But Michael was determined to turn his family's grief into something that could help others.
Working on this makes me happy, and this documentary gets rid of some of the stigma that surrounds mental illness.
By sharing JT's story, they hope it will teach others to be more compassionate, more understanding, while bringing their family a little closure along the way.
I think he would be proud of me for working on something and to help others, hopefully.
In Standish, Samantha York, News Center, Maine.
And if you would like to see the full trailer for Brothers, just head to our website or mobile app. It is set to premiere next week at the Nickelodeon Theater in Portland, and tickets are still available.
All right, checking in on that forecast. You have your sneakers on. You're ready to run somewhere?
I do. People were like really jarred by these today, and I feel like I wear them a lot, but today something about it threw people off. It's good to be comfortable.
It's
right?
like, are you giving us a reason that you need to run away?
No, well, I don't know.
Isn't it fairly obvious?
I don't know. Check my Twitter and see if I need to get out of the building before I get fired today. That's really the biggest danger in most cases.
Yes, Sarah.
I don't think you could run away from that anyways. Like, if your key card just stops working at some point. All right, it was chilly this morning, guys. Look at these morning lows in the 20s in a lot of spots and 30s right to the immediate coastline. And so the recovery we made was actually pretty good into the upper 50s and low 60s. We've now sea breezed all up and down the coast. So temperatures have dropped back into the low 50s, mirroring that ocean temperature, but in a lot of other spots sitting around 60 degrees. Nice sunny day today. High thin clouds starting to move in from the west right on cue. Models nailed this really well, that the clouds would thicken up right before sunset in a lot of spots, and over northern Maine you'll be able to get the whole day in before the clouds move in. Showers behind it, a couple of ragged little areas of showers, but the main gist of this is off to the west and won't get here until tomorrow morning. So tonight will be cloudy. There's a 5% or so chance of a shower, but most of us will stay dry until tomorrow. And at that point, we start with the showers in the mountains. Notice a few sleet pellets likely to mix in here with temperatures in the mid-30s in the higher terrain at least. And then we go from showers to some heavier downpours later in the afternoon. Some rumbles of thunder, a possibility along the coastline around sunset and just thereafter. But we should be able to clear out. Here we're at 3 in the morning. And Lee's still out partying at this point, starting to clear out though. Right. And by Saturday, we're in good shape. And I actually think Saturday afternoon is looking better and better because it's clearing out faster, it's warming up a little faster, so we should get into the low 60s, perhaps mid 60s later in the day on Saturday. That's the best part of the weekend. Now, Mother's Day, I think, is going to be a little bit cloudier, but we should be able to hold off the rain until late Sunday night and into Monday. So it's a Mother's Day miss. It's a real tough forecast down across Massachusetts where look where that line will be for the precipitation. It's not far away. That's why I think it will be pretty cloudy on Mother's Day, but it will be a decent day still. Temperatures getting to around 60 degrees. And then this storm cranks up on Monday into Monday night and into Tuesday, and I don't like that part of the week at all. It still looks like it's going to snow into the mountains. It's funny, I got this text thread going with the people who at Sugarloaf and Sunday River, and we talked during the winter and whatnot. I sent them the snowfall map, and I said, you guys shouldn't have shut down. And they're like, ooh, snow. And I'm like, wait, what? It's because now the season's over, so they don't care. Normally, they send back all kinds of dancing
emojis
gifts. And yeah. Even they don't like it this time of the year, Monday night into Tuesday. But again, the weekend looks good. So we're just going to take that and run with it.
I think your forecast just decided my plans. My parents are going to just have to come up here for Mother's Day.
Right, is that how it works?
Stoked, Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, better up here.
Yeah.
You heard me.
Good.
So
take him to Becky's still.
Exactly. Exactly. Keith knows. So we're pretty sure we've cleared the hurdle and made it into spring, but this is not the case in Minnesota. This is the scene in Duluth today. It started snowing last night. The snow kept falling into the morning. This is no dusting. The National Weather Service there says the city got more than 10 inches of fresh snow. That breaks the previous record of 8.1 inches during the month of May, set back in 1954. And with this new snow, this is now the 15th snowiest winter of all time in that part of the country. Ugh. This makes me cringe.
It's terrible. Hey, we might have an answer as to who left that Starbucks cup in the scene of the latest Game of Thrones episode. There's a shot of the cup right there that actually aired and gave Starbucks some free advertising. The drama over the cup continues. Liam Cunningham, who plays Sir Davos, blamed Emilia Clarke, who plays the Dragon Queen. He said Emilia probably drinks too much coffee.
However, Emilia defending herself, saying, "We've got the Americans in, some hotshot producer." and then we'll have Starbucks lying around. Only the people who watched the show right after it was released actually saw the cup. It was digitally removed a day later. I didn't catch it live, did you?
No.
No, it was
I
close.
don't know that I would have seen it anyway because you're so enthralled in everything else in that
right.
show. You know,
You're stressed. And speaking of stressed, you guys are probably stressed watching this video if you saw it today. There was a happy ending though for this video that had animal lovers concerned. A bobcat perched up way up on this power pole. Was it trapped or was it just surveying its prey from a pretty high vantage point? Maybe it just wanted some alone time. Rescuers were poking it with a very long pole trying to save it, and it seemed to work. The bobcat got annoyed, scaled down the pole fairly quickly.
Yep. Which is generally what happens when cats are up in weird places and people freak out and then they just come down.
They find their way
Bobcats and regular
eventually.
cats. All right, Cindy's here. Tell us what's coming up in the next half hour. Howdy.
Hi there. You guys remember the bigamist from Old Orchard Beach who was
Yes,
married
indeed.
to 4 women at the same time? Well, he was convicted in New Hampshire, was given no jail time. Well, guess what? He has disappeared from the housing where he is supposed to be staying, violating his sentencing agreement, and this is not the first time he's been on the run. We'll have more on that. Plus, Mark Zuckerberg is once again in the spotlight, the subject of a scathing editorial in the New York Times today calling for the Facebook to be broken up. And who wrote that editorial is very interesting. Those stories and more all ahead at 5:30.
It is very interesting.
All right, guys, we'll see you at News Center Maine at 5:30.
Sounds like a plan.
Back with Braindrops after this.
All right, sorry, we were trying to figure out. Somebody said in Game of Thrones it was not a Starbucks cup, and now we're trying
Now we're trying to figure it out. This is on our Facebook Live conversation.
This is like a. This is a verify if I ever saw one.
I
All
know,
right,
we're gonna look into
We'll
it.
get to it. First, let's do today's brain drops if we can, and I want to start with this picture. Excuse me. This is out of Presque Isle. Viewer sent this out of the window of his plane, and it's pretty
so is
cool.
it a shadow?
Yeah, so it's called anything that shadows like this is called a glory. That's the general term for it. The idea is basically that you have to be aligned so that you're the opposite side of where the sun is at the time, looking down obviously onto a cloud. And the reason you don't see this a ton in commercial air travel, I have seen it once, is that you're typically not low enough to see the shadow on the cloud. So your plane is creating that glory in the opposite direction of the sun at any given time, but you can't see it because it's being diffused over such a wide area down onto the earth or whatnot, or the cloud that's so far away. The shadow is only apparent when you get closer to the cloud. So actually you see these a lot in research flights, and I think we have that in the next link here. So when they do these NASA research flights, they're much lower because they're trying to collect data from a certain level of the atmosphere in which planes aren't normally traveling. So they'll see these glories, they all kind of called pilots.
The mouse is right where it is, yeah.
Yep, right, yeah, perfect. The pilot's glory is the slang for it.
Yeah.
But when they're flying so low and they see these a lot, in a mountain situation, you can see it around your own shadow. It's called a Brockenspector when that happens then.
A Brockenspector?
Brockenspector. And I saw it in Mount Washington when I stayed up there for a couple of weeks because you were in the cloud and it was reflecting right there. It was pretty freaky,
maybe
actually.
from the top of Mount Katahdin you could see that too.
If you get the right day, the cloud
Right
has to be
day.
below you and the sun has to be behind you.
Gotcha.
And is that a Starbucks cup? Or?
We're going to get into this. This conversation is continuing
Figure it
on
out.
Facebook Live. News Center Maine at 5:30 starts right now.